Hey there, it's Pete over at the Sampleist, and today we are checking out Nordic Folk Strings from Silence+Other Sounds. Not only are we going to check out the Nordic Folk String library, we are also going to delve into the Silence+Other Sounds summer sale. They've just launched it, so through the compositional section of the video, we're going to feature the Nordic Folk Strings with some other Silence+Other Sounds libraries as well. So we're going to talk about those later in the video. However, let's focus back to Nordic Folk Strings. This is a tagelharpa library, and the tagelharpa is a traditional 3-string instrument from Scandinavia, and this library features 2 versions of the instrument. So we've got the standard version and then we've got the bass tagelharpa as well, and this has been recorded using what is known as rhythmic legato. So when you play the notes, you get a seemingly what sounds like a loop, but then you can use this legato technique through them as well. It's really, really impressive stuff. So we're going to check out the Nordic Folk Strings. It does require the full version of Kontakt 6.6.1 or above, and there are 8 Kontakt instruments contained within the library. It downloads at around 2.6 gigabytes, and it's currently on sale for $66. So that is a 33% saving. Now, if you jump over to the Silence+Other Sounds website, you'll notice that the majority of their libraries are either 33% or 37% off. So what we're going to do, like I say, in the video, we're going to check out the Nordic Folk Strings, and then we're going to check out the composition, which uses nothing but Silence+Other Sounds libraries, and of course a lot of my own personal favourites. I'd like to take the opportunity to thank Silence+Other Sounds for sending over a copy of the Nordic Folk Strings so we could make this video. Of course, we get the instruments for free, but it does not in any way influence our own thoughts, ideas or judgments on the libraries. We are just normal, everyday working composers spreading the hard work of the developers by showcasing their wonderful instruments. Now, with all that out the way, let's check out, first of all, the Nordic Folk Strings. And here we have the Nordic Folk Strings loaded up in Native Instruments Complete 7. Now, I've gone for a more traditional look so we can see the instruments on the left and we can see the GUI on the right. And I love the GUI. Absolutely beautifully designed, really, really well laid out, easy to use, and it just really pops and stands out to me. So, yeah, first of all, GUI, big plus. Now, left hand side, you can see there are 8 instruments, and we got 4 bass tagelharpas and we got 4 standard ones as well. And these are all tempo synced, but they do have tempo markings for their performances as well. So you can roughly fit a instrument from this library to the tempo of your track. And then of course we have straight versions and triplet versions. So I have loaded up the first one, which is 110 to 130 BPM, and this is the bass tagelharpa, and it's just straight. There we go, no triplets involved in this one. So let's just quickly play one of the blue keys, and that will trigger a loop. Now, of course, historically, when you're working with tempo synced loop-based libraries, the transition between them has to be exactly on the money, as it were. It's got to be really, really accurate. Whereas this uses this legato technique. So it's got loops, but it has legato between the loops. So just check this out. This is incredible. I'm just going to move up C, D, E, F, etc. Now, I was purposefully playing out of time there because everything just seamlessly worked together. There was no awkward transitions. It was just like having the performer in your studio with you. And of course, I'm not a tagelharpa expert. In fact, I'm not 100% convinced I'm pronouncing it correctly. But I did check out some live performances because I saw some great social media comments when this library came out, because it's been out for a couple of weeks now. And people are saying, finally, this is a tagelharpa library that is authentic. It's been sampled incredibly closely with so much detail. So I listened to the performances that I found online and obviously played the instrument, and yeah, it really is. It's detailed, it's rich, it's got all the nuance going on and the character of the tagelharpa. Oh, I just played it by accident. That's how thrilled I am about it. So moving around. Lovely. So we've got these blue keys that trigger it, and of course you can play more than one note at the same time as well. That's what I was illustrating, especially that C and B flat. Beautiful. So yeah, it's loop bass on the surface of it, and then you've got this legato idea. Then of course we've got these key switches, and these are just the movements. So you can see we're cycling through those. If I was to play the first one, you've just heard that. So let's go to the second pattern. And the third pattern. Fourth pattern. And the fifth one. And of course you can cycle through them seamlessly. Like that. Lovely. Now we have two more key switches, and these are just the tone. So you can see the tone controls there. And I'm going to have to just quickly zoom in. So we've got clean and we've got gnarly. And gnarly is actually a word that I use to describe Silence+Other Sounds sampling sometimes, because it is gnarly. It's incredible. So this is our clean. I'll go back to the first pattern. And here's gnarly. So it's subtle differences, but yeah, it is cleaner, obviously the clean one. And it seems a bit earthier, the gnarly one. So lovely. And then of course you've got different scales. Now this will alter the keys on your controller. So of course, if you press a key like I have on purpose that is not in the scale, it won't play. So we've got major, we've got minor. And we also have chromatic. And you can adjust the key root up here. Okay, but I'm going to go back to A. But it's really, really cool, like, just to keep you in key, I suppose. I suppose. There we go. Now, there is some MIDI note quantizing going on as well. And the quantize essentially affects the transitions between, which is cool. And of course, everything, like I say, is tempo synced. So quantization, you can play around with it if you really want to, or you could be completely free if you unquantize it. Just kind of using my own judgment there. If I go back to fourth. Yeah, so it's much closer together, and you can tell when you're playing it, it is really on the money in terms of quantization. However, I wasn't bad when I was unquantized. It's quite good. So let's listen to some other sounds. So we've got triplets in the bass. Beautiful. And there's 3 different movements here. And again, these are all performances, so they're not just sort of MIDI created. These are performances. And then we've got a different tempo. Of course, my tempo is set to 120. Lovely. And then, of course, we've got triplet versions as well. Yeah, it really is agile. Incredible. Brilliant. This is sounding fantastic. Let's listen to the standard one as well. Obviously. It's half of the instrument, so why wouldn't we? That sounds really major. Love that. 2. So there's really nice variation in the movements as well. Yeah, you can even trill. Love it. Now I have got a string control as well. So it's only a 3-string instrument, but imagine that as a divisi for the strings. Wonderful. But you can hear the sound difference, can't you? In fact, let's load up some triplets. Just change the sound. I mean, I can hear a Nordic noir trailer, I guess, using the Nordic Folk Strings. It sounds brilliant. That's really close and dry. I'll put some reverb on as well. Ooh, I like. Oh, the reverb is on. Let's make that a bit bigger. I like big reverbs. Ooh, that's gone loud. Obviously, I know why. Let's go dry. I still want everything to clip in the video. But yeah, so we can increase the reverb, and there is a delay function as well. Just turn that on. Yeah. So I'm just thinking, where I can use this. I'd actually use that in Spaghetti Western as well. But that's just me. Love my Spaghetti Western. Okay, and we've got the different, still on the sort of, not the bass version, the standard version. There we go. Sounds great. Let's gonna do the divisi. I love that sound. And I will just play it for completionist's sake, the other triplets. Beautiful. Now, if I was to go back to the bass and just play the 2+1. Sounds incredible. So let's investigate the sequencer as well. So we have, I'll just hit randomize. We got a sequencer. Now we're on key switch 1, which is here. I feel like I'm making a right mess of this. So I've got to put that on. So I've randomized everything. To keys, yeah, that's fine. There we go, we're changing. I keep randomizing it. You know, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to shy away from that at the moment because obviously I'm adjusting it and you can see it's moving sort of further ahead. It's a little bit teeny tiny for me. Only my screen, not the GUI. The GUI is fine. I actually would have this a lot bigger when I'm working with it. But there is a sequencer page on the Silence+Other Sounds website. So you can check it out there as well. So yeah, but you can see, you can randomize the patterns. And yeah, they're all on each of the key switches, which is very, very cool. Ah, there we go. Whatever I've created there, I really like. Really, really like. I need to save that. I'm going to save that when I finish recording. Right, so that is the Nordic Folk Strings, or they are the Nordic Folk Strings tagelharpa from Silence+Other Sounds. Incredible library. I love it, and I'm just thinking all the places that I'm going to be using this. Oh, I didn't talk about the different controls as well. So if I go back there, you can, if I was mute one of the channels. So you can take out whether it's bass strings or solo strings, which is very, very interesting. And then you can adjust the mics as well. So I think it's close and far. Yeah, so there's a room mic. So very, very cool stuff. Yeah, and like I say, I'm going to save this because whatever I've created there, I love, 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 love. Right, what we're going to do, I've created a composition based upon an old wives' tale featuring some mummies, and I've used a lot of my favourite Silence+Other Sounds libraries. And way back when, before making videos and sort of being in that position to sort of review libraries, Silence+Other Sounds were one of the first developers I bought from, and I absolutely cherish these libraries. So not only because I was new to composing and these were like sort of crazy sounds, because back the last time I tried composing, it was 2002, and sampling, let's face it, in 2002 wasn't anywhere like it is today. So I was absolutely enamored with these libraries. So I've thrown in things like String Ache and Pain Piano, which are my all-time favorites from Silence+Other Sounds, and then a couple of other ones as well that I've been lucky enough to review over the years. But yeah, absolutely wonderful stuff. And then we're going to talk about how I've used the different instruments, of course, what they sound like. And then I'll end up with some closing thoughts about just the entire range from Silence and Other Sounds. So without further ado, here is the composition with the eerie footage included too. There we have what I believe is a very fitting accompaniment to a timeless tale that's been handed down through generations. We have the mummy. The mummy is lying down, very, very upset, angry, but gets to the mummy feet and stands up. And then we see the inner turmoil, the despair, the writhing, the agony. And then out of nowhere, the mummy splits into three. And I think they're trying to do some kind of choreography and they're in a dance studio because it's slightly out. If you notice their movement, not quite in sync. So the man who owns the dance studio is not very happy. He digs a big hole, presumably some kind of burial site for the mummies, or maybe himself, because he's worked in dance for a long time and he's never seen so much out of time movement. And then we have a man with a skull. We don't know what his deal is, but we think he disappears, he fades to black, and then suddenly he's there again in our faces. It is a classic tale. You must have heard it. I remember when I was a kid being told that story. Wonderful. Now, what's really important is the sounds that these amazing instruments create. And I remember when I was starting out and I accidentally bought a couple of full price libraries before I understood about sales. I think we've all been there at some point. And then I was waiting for String Ache to come on sale and I kept clicking and refreshing. And then eventually it came on sale and it's one of my most used libraries. And we're not just talking for horror scoring. If I'm doing any aleatoric orchestral sections, I reach for this library all the time. It is incredible. And then, of course, as time went by, Silence and Other Sound developed different libraries. We've got Pain Piano. Pain Piano, I actually have a demo on their website, and this is just from when I was a composer. I loved the instrument so much, and I then created a demo, sent it off to Silence and Other Sounds, and they featured it on the website. So I massively appreciated that. It gave me a really big boost. And when I say only a composer, I meant I wasn't doing video reviews or making any kind of video content. There we go. And then, of course, different libraries came out. The mystery boxes, we got Dojo, we got Malventum series, and then, of course, the Nordic Folk Strings. So there's plenty going on. Now, it all started off with the Nordic Folk Strings, and I wanted these to be really quite disjointed. So if I just play with the video, and we can just see how it fits. So you can hear it creates that pulse. Now let's just isolate that. It's got that writhing quality. Now, the way I did program it, you can have it seamlessly playing continuously, but I actually wanted these little breaks in the bowing to make it more disjointed. So that's how I programmed the MIDI. And then, of course, we got some other sounds. So we got the mystery boxes, which are amazing, and they are very inexpensive. So these are the bowed experiments. It's creepy stuff. And then we've got clocks. This clocks instrument is my go-to clocks instrument. Again, not just for horror scoring. If I'm doing any kind of competition music, for example, or tension, and I require clocks, I reach for these clocks time and time again. I'm just going to whiz a little bit further through just so you can hear the clocks in action. They are amazing. And I've done my little trick where I put Pan Man on, and you can see, if I just press space, so really, really simple movements, but it really gives lots and lots of width going on to the composition. And then we've got Malventum horns, so it's kind of like a Brahm, but it's a war horn. These sound incredible, and I use these in crime scoring quite a lot as well. They just sound great, like futuristic crime scoring. You wouldn't think it would fit, but it really does. And then we've got a plain piano loop. Which goes into another loop. And then we have a string 8 riser. There are two, but I'll play the first one. And here's the second one. Fantastic. So essentially the composition is just blending all of these together. There is a second Nordic folk string loop as well. So I'll play this one, which is the second one. And again, I wanted this disjointed idea. So you can see the MIDI programming. If I do that, so it's just tidying up the disjointedness, and yeah, it just sounds like really, really creepy, especially when I blend the first one. And then I made it so that one blends into each other as well. So yeah, I absolutely love it. Now let's just play this section all together. I'll put the video on. Excuse me, there's my Windows bar. Fantastic. So you can see I'm not separating many of the instruments. So again, the clocks, I mean, here you hear a variety of different clocks. Beautiful, really, really dry. Obviously, tempo synced, sounding fantastic. And then we've got the Pain piano. Again, one of my all-time favourite libraries. Not just Silence+Other Sounds, just generally. I love this library. I added some friction. Freak. It's got freak in it. There we go. Added that as well. Now, the ending, you can hear, I purposely stop the samples from ringing out because we have this Malventum horn finishing off. So you got this really, really big crescendo and then a big bang. I say big bang is quite understated, really, but that's all there is to it. And this is what I love about Silence+Other Sounds instruments. First of all, the sound design is absolutely wonderful. Really, really easy to use. You can just kind of hit keys as you're recording, and then if you decide, you know, that's not the sound you want, just nudge it up and down till you get a sound that really, really fits. But the choice you get is absolutely brilliant. The tempo syncing across all their libraries is incredible, so you can easily use them together, and the sampling is just wonderful. And of course, when you look at the GUI, so Friction is an older one, but again, really straightforward to use. If I look at the GUI of clocks, I think the padlock, I know it's not coming up in here, that's our mystery box clocks. Really, really straightforward to use. Everything is color coded in the GUI. I think this one, yeah, so there was a lock code. Now I'm pretty sure I did this, but you won a code for money off another library, which is very, very cool. So just a really good example of creative promotions that Silence+Other Sounds do. And then Malventum, which is a slightly more recent one. And then my favorite, Pain piano. I say my favorite, I love Pain piano and I love String Ache. And then I keep saying how much I love clocks. So I think they're probably my top 3 that I use because they sound incredible and they've got lots of multi-use. So there we go, Silence+Other Sounds. Let's go to some closing thoughts. Normally, at the end of every video, we have closing thoughts about the featured library. However, in this one, we are talking about Silence+Other Sounds as a developer. They've got a sale on at the moment. Looking at the prices, we're looking at about 33% off or 37% off, which is an absolute bargain because the libraries are priced incredibly fairly anyway. But forget about the price, let's talk about the sounds. The libraries are really, really diverse. You have the sounds from Helen, the ethereal, ghostly voices, and sometimes they are downright just evil. So do check out our video on that. You got the String Ache library, which is all about aleatoric strings, but really, really well-designed strings. So it's not just, you know, a couple of pizzicatos here and there. These are just gnarly. And then Pain piano. It's a destroyed piano and it's been sampled within an inch of its life. It's incredible. We've got the Malventum series, and then of course we've got the mystery boxes and the latest release, the Nordic Folk. Dojo is all about synths. It's amazing. It's a combat synth, and then we've got Omen, the Ritual Voices, and War Chant. So the big thing about these libraries, I've not mentioned all of them. I think Zithergeist, I didn't mention. Friction, I haven't. Transfer, which is wonderful as well. and Relict. I believe Relict is free, if I remember. I downloaded it many years ago, and I still use it. What's consistent across all of these libraries is the sampling is incredible. And as I've said, the libraries are made by one person. So it's one person in their room just creating these incredible sounds. And the sound design is just on a different level. It's hard hitting, it's got substance, it's massive, and again, they're incredibly unique sounds. You're not going to find this stuff anywhere. I know the developer goes far and wide to source the instruments and the performers. That they are incredible libraries, and the fact they aren't, especially at the moment, particularly expensive, they're really worth jumping into. So, do I recommend Silence+Other Sounds libraries? Of course, I've used these. These are some of the libraries that have their most utility from me. But also, what I absolutely love about them is they set your work apart from everyone else's, because again, it's so unique and it's so twisted and it's so different and it's so creative. So yeah, whatever you buy, you'll be incredibly happy with. Personally, if you're just starting out with Silence+Other Sounds libraries, I pick up Pain Piano and String Ache. I'll probably Freechin as well. Just get those in your repertoire, get used to them. But if you need something specific, especially if you're doing video game scoring, for example, and you're doing a kind of like Skyrim type thing, Omen, be amazing. Malventum Pompeii, all of these types of libraries will serve you incredibly well. And I've got a real soft spot for Helen. I think that's an incredible library. So I could spend all evening, because it's evening where I am, just going on about how wonderful these libraries are, but just go to the Silence+Other Sounds website and check them out for yourselves, because this is a developer who just keeps on creating new and different and exciting material. So certainly check them out. I'd like to take the opportunity to thank Silence+Other Sounds, not just for sending over the Nordic Folk Strings, which also we featured in this video. Also, the other libraries we've had since starting the Sampleist, so Dojo, Helen, and then as a composer, when I was purchasing the libraries as well, I had lots and lots of support from Silence+Other Sounds. I started chatting to them just as a composer, and I was really touched when my Pain Piano demo was featured on the website. It's the first time I had like a little bit of a breakthrough with composing music, and yeah, it meant the world to me. So yeah, you know, really sort of a proud moment for me, but couldn't have done it without Silence+Other Sounds, just, you know, being very supportive. So yeah, just as a developer, absolutely wonderful. If you like what you heard, feel free to leave a like on the video, and of course drop us a comment. What do you think about these instruments we've looked at in this video? Have you bought them? Have you used them? Are you thinking about picking some up? You got a project that you may need them on? Let us know. Let's get a chat going on. And of course, if you've not done so already, please check out our other videos as well. And of course, please hit that subscribe button. It's the best way to support us. It spreads the word of the Sampleist far and wide. We don't make any kind of financial deal. We have no advertising deals, no affiliate links, and we don't make any money really, just from the viewership on YouTube. So please hit that subscribe button if you've not done so already. And until next time, have a great day and keep making, in this case, that gnarly, horrific yet beautiful music. Take care.